Greetings War Thunderers, this is Longshot bringing you another Versus video featuring a duel between my Spitfire Mark IIB and a Ki-43 Mark III flown by Zero Jaeger. As you can see, this is an arcade domination battle and I hadn't met Jaeger in War Thunder before this game. He didn't know me either. But what followed was an absorbing struggle for control of high altitude, where we pushed each of our planes to the limit in a fight for supremacy. Although it's enjoyable to run up a large kill streak in arcade, often that can happen in a way that isn't particularly satisfying or memorable, as each kill can be easy and mundane if there's no skilled pilots on the enemy team. But when you meet a talented opponent and engage in an absorbing, drawn-out battle, that can be far more exhilarating than any 20 kill battle against, dare I say it, a herd of common arcade window lickers. In fact, so enjoyable was this particular dogfight that we spent the rest of the battle on the chat in a friendly discussion about the tactics we'd used and the merits of our respective planes. Now before our duel gets underway, in my previous video on how to fly the Spit 2B, I described the Ki-43 Mark III as its nemesis. Let me show you why that is. Let's compare the turning circles of these planes, flying at 3,000 meters. The Ki-43 rolls faster, its turning circle is smaller, and it's turning a lot faster than the Spitfire. In a turning battle using elevators, the Ki-43 would win, and win easily. Let's look at their ability to perform the climbing spiral. Once again, the Ki-43 has a smaller and faster turning circle as it climbs, and it's able to maintain a steeper climbing angle for longer than the Spitfire. You can see the Spit beginning to lose its climb angle as its speed drops, whereas the Ki-43 keeps powering upwards. And to show how much stronger the Ki-43 is in vertical maneuvers, let's do a series of consecutive Immelmans starting at only 250 kilometers an hour. This is a punishing test. It really shows how the planes behave when they're pushed to the limit vertically. The Ki-43 is completing the Immelmans faster, with its lighter airframe and tighter turning circle. On the third Immelman, neither plane will have WEP available. The Ki still manages to pull off the manoeuvre, but the Spitfire gets to the midpoint of the climb and it stalls. If you've ever heard an RB player describe arcade flight models as all being the same UFO, well, you can see how untrue that is. Both these planes are indeed UFOs, but not all UFOs are created equal. Historically, the Ki-43 could beat the Spitfire in these manoeuvres, and it can in arcade as well. But manoeuvrability is not everything. How about climb rate? Well, the Ki-43 wins. Acceleration? The Ki wins handsomely. The only thing the Spitfire can do better is dive, reaching nearly 800 kilometers an hour, where the Ki-43 can barely make 700. So by this stage in the battle, I've realized I need to spend some time climbing away from the zone and get well above that Ki-43 if I can. If we fight on equal terms, and he's a good pilot, I really don't stand a chance. He's obviously identified me as a threat, and for a while it looked like he was going to chase, but he decided he couldn't ignore the G4M1, and that gave me the chance to escape. I decided I needed at least 2,000 meters altitude advantage, so I'd climbed nearly 7,000 meters by the time I returned to find him flying near the top of the zone. And as I can't hang with a Hayabusa in a dogfight, my aim was simply to boom and zoom, either to get the kill if possible, or force him to dive into the furball. And once the threat posed by the Ki-43 was eliminated, I'd then be in control of high altitude, from which I could put the enemy team under pressure by attacking climbers and bombers. All I have to do is win this initial engagement, which is the kind of thing I've done many times before. I didn't expect it to be overly difficult. But Jaeger had other ideas. He wasn't going to let me shoot or force him down, not without a fight. Alright, here we go. A Yak 9's engaging him, so while he's busy I'll start a diving attack. Adjust for his turn, and now send a stream of shells in front of his plane. Except I can only get hits, and now I'm going to overshoot. He shot down the Yak, is starting to scissors back toward me, so I need to use my superior speed to escape him in a spiral climb. And after the turns he's pulled, he's low on speed and he can't follow me. And at this point many players will keep trying to follow until they stall their plane, which is what I was hoping he'd do. But not Jaeger. Before he reaches stall speed, he flips over into a dive, and seeing this, I decide to chase, hoping either for a snapshot or to drive him off altitude. He uses his roll speed to evade my guns, and once again I'm in danger of overshooting and I have to pull up, and Jaeger immediately pulled up as well to try for another vertical scissors, forcing me into another climbing spiral. And because he was diving, he has more energy than last time and is able to pursue me in the spiral a bit longer than I was comfortable with. But I did hope he'd stall here. But just at the point where it looked like he might stall, he gave up the chase and flipped over into another dive. This time I'm wary of falling into a rhythm and becoming too predictable, so I choose to keep spiral climbing while watching to see if he pulls up sharply, hoping to attack me by surprise. Doesn't do so, although he does level off at only a little over a kilometre below me, which isn't far enough for my liking, so I'm going to continue the climb to reinforce my altitude advantage. This guy is obviously quite talented. He was quickly aware of me in my first attack and had the presence of mind to scissors back towards me immediately after shooting down the yak, which indicates above average situational awareness. He also foiled my second attack with barrel rolls and knew exactly when to break upwards to try and force an overshoot reversal. He's refused to allow himself to get close to stalling his plane, and he's refused to let me drive him down off altitude. Having said all that, with some decent hit detection I'd have shot him down on my first pass, but I'm glad I didn't, as then you wouldn't be watching this video. But at this point I was starting to wonder how exactly I'm going to get the kill here. He's flying underneath me, I'll wait till he's passed, then I'll try a simple diving attack to see if he's awake. Has he taken his eye off the ball and lost track of me? No. He's into a split S, so once again I have to zoom climb. And what's annoying me a bit is that despite my presence, he's found the time to shoot down 3 planes so far. Perhaps I'm giving him a little too much freedom. I need to put some more pressure on him, although that's easier said than done. I continue to shadow him and fly above him to keep him on his toes. I'm also hoping he might try a climbing attack, but it seems he's as patient as I am, and he's content just to patrol the top of the zone. I'm also looking to see if he dives on someone lower. If he does, I'll dive to lower the ceiling and pressure him downwards. Alternately, I want to bounce him if he engages someone at this altitude, and in saying that, a friendly 109's climbing out to the northeast, so I'm diving to stop Jagar from going after him. He spotted me once again, drops into a split S, and that's enough to allow the 109 to keep climbing unmolested. And as I zoom climb, I noticed another 109 flown by Bursuton has climbed to the top of the zone and is going to engage the Hayabusa on an equal footing. He's approaching from the bottom of the screen now. So seeing this, I'm instantly back into the dive, hoping again to catch Jagar while he's too busy to keep track of me. And this situation is getting a little complex, so I'll just pause for a moment. From the south comes Bursuton, who's turned his 109 to re-engage Jagar's Ki-43. From the northeast, Makasa's 109 has reached Jagar's altitude and is approaching for a head-on. It sure would have helped if one or both of them had climbed a bit higher, so we could have taken turns with diving attacks, but this is arcade where people prefer head-ons and turn fights against superior opponents. Also in the area is an A-20 which is climbing away from Jagar, and of course I'm closing in at high speed from above. This is a tough situation for the Hayabusa. Even though it outclasses each of our fighters, in a dogfight there are 3 of us plus the A-20. It would be so easy for him to lose track of one of us, fly into a stream of cannon shells, and that would be that. And that's exactly what should have happened here as I resume the action. He snap rolls past Makasa, climbs to attack the A-20, and I've got him dead to rights, full profile of his plane, exposed to my Hispanos, aiming right at the lead indicator at convergence range. If you've seen my How to Aim video, you'll know that 300 metres is the range at which to aim at the indicator, and closer than that you aim inside it. That's what I'm doing here. So let's see what happens. Yep, the hit detection gods have totally deserted me this game. Jagar's given another reprieve and shoots down the A-20. And now he really warms to the task. First he loops back towards me, which forces me to continue my diving turn, and then he dives to dodge Makasa's head-on. That's some serious multitasking. He's passed the head-on while I'm still ruddering over for another dive. Bursuton climbs to attack from the right, Jagar faces him, dodges, and then wheels around, and he's going to roll right under my diving attack just as I'm getting a shot lined up. Some serious Sixth Sense stuff happening there, and this time I have to extend away before I risk climbing again. If you haven't seen what a Ki-43 Mark III can do, that was an excellent demonstration right there. My Spit-2B is a great all-round dogfighter, one of the best at its battle rating, but against the speed and agility of that plane I feel completely outclassed. As I turn back, I see that Bursuton has dived to safety, Jagar's gotten onto the tail of Masaka and will quickly shoot him down. That's what happens if you try to dogfight a Ki-43 with a 109 on equal terms. You lose. Worse still, Bursuton dived in the opposite direction to my zoom climb, and he's now trying to climb again, but I'm powerless to stop Jagar swooping down to attack him. To his credit though, Baisuton saw him coming, managed to dodge, and stayed evasive enough to keep his plane intact as he dived again with Jago on his tail. So once again I'm alone at altitude with this pesky Ki-43. Let's see if I can catch him as he zoom climbs. I'm already at a decent speed and hit WEP to accelerate in the dive, yet I'm surprised by how quickly he seems to be travelling. And using WEP in the dive is going to cost me. I try a long-range shot here and land at least one hit going by the puff of smoke and his sudden evasion, but nothing registers. I can't follow his turn. Once again I'm forced into an evasive climbing spiral. And here's where I pay for my use of WEP. He's a lot closer to me this time. He lands a hit, and just when I need it most, my WEP runs out, and that lets him get guns on me for long enough to rip off a wing. I bet you thought I was going to win this battle. If so, I'm sorry to disappoint you, as on this occasion I was simply outflown. And to be honest, for me to shoot him down, he would have had to have made a bad mistake, as the Spit-2B is simply no match for the cannonbusa. So what do you think of our flying, both mine and his? Are there other tactics I could have used that would have improved my chances? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. I do hope you've enjoyed the video as much as we enjoyed this dogfight. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more, but that's all for this one. Until my next vid, I'll see you in the skies.